What's going on? It's Kwame Dankwa, also known as KD, and I'm hanging out with Kevin W. Reese at the New England Music Seminar.
Kevin W. Reese.
Now, me and this guy right here, we go back far, real far.
Yes.
Kwame Dankwa from Connecticut, ex-rapper. You still spit?
A little something every now and then, you know.
Me too. It's a little hobby, you know. But my man right here came up through the ranks of radio and is now in Vermont. Talk about where you're at, and program director of.
Yeah, I'm at Z97.1 WZRT FM up in Vermont. You know, it's a top 40 station. You know, we play everything from Wiz Khalifa to Kesha to Adele. You know, so we give the variety to all the people. It's a 50,000 watt station that reaches 4 states and 2 countries. So we've got a huge fan base up there. It's not all about moose and hunting up there.
Now, you really came up through the ranks of radio here in Connecticut. I mean, you did some college radio, you did some AM, right?
Yes.
You did some AM, and then you came over to the CBS building, and you were doing like 3 stations at one time, just bouncing back and forth, man. Would you say that grind is what got you to be program director out in Vermont?
Oh, absolutely. I believe that the grind is, you know, it's essential. You know, when people see different stations on your resume, there's always that name recognition if you've worked in the business long enough, and they'll have respect for certain brands. You know, like when I was working at Light, my operations manager up in Vermont, he remembered because Alan, who was my PD at Light, was from that city where I'm program director now. He's like, I remember when he worked here. Let's talk to that guy. You know, the more people you meet and the more name recognition you have, the more of a buzz you create. You know, and that opens doors for you. And it's been a It was a long struggle, but you know, I'm still grinding.
Now it's about a year old, but about a year ago, a new rating system came into play called PPM. For those that don't know what it is, and has kind of changed radio. How would you say PPM has changed radio? It's showing
the stations what the audience really is exposed to and what they really like. You know, how fast do, you know, for example, how the stations do their liners, that's changed. The type of music we play, the amount of time that we talk, it's changed the entire landscape of radio as we know it. And you know, you notice, like, if you travel to a place that there's no PPM, the stations sound a lot different, you know, because it shows, okay, the advertisers want to know, what are they exposed to? You know, like if you walk into a bodega, you know, and you have the PPM meter on you, it'll pick up that you were listening to Mega 910. Right. Even if you listen to Light 100.5, it's still going to show the advertisers what you're exposed to.
So how does this change things for the unsigned artists? The guys that are getting a ticket to the New England Music Seminar, they're coming in there, and they're all thirsty to be big name rappers and rock bands and such. How does PPM affect them getting airplay, the airplay that they desire?
Well, you see, again, it goes back to the exposure. For example, if I'm a program director at a hip-hop station and I want my station to have more exposure, I'm going to look at the charts and I'm going to pick the records that aren't as, you know, I want to say, they are not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Polarizing. Right. You know, the lyrics aren't as dirty necessarily. I'm going to wait on those other records that may be off the charts, or, you know, that may be considered explicit, because somebody may want to put my station on in their store or their barbershop, and they want mothers to bring their children in there. So I'm going to pick less offensive material so that my station can be played everywhere. Because you have to remember, we're battling Pandora, we're battling satellite radio, and we want these local businesses to not only play our station in their shop, but we want them to also buy into our station for advertising and get the word out. And if they feel like they can't listen to us in their business, they're not going to spend money with us.
What's your advice to the unsigned artists, the ones that, you know, desire to be that big name and make a living off this music business?
First, admit to yourself that you want to be that big name. There are a lot of artists that don't admit to themselves so that they want to make that money, they want to be out there on that stage making that fame. They say, oh, I want to be on the underground, I want to be out there. That's not true. If you're doing this because you want to be on the underground, then you're lying to yourself. Admit that to yourself, and then think about, what is it that I'm going to say, or how can I approach this so that everyone will want to listen to me without necessarily completely watering myself down? How can I grab people's attention and show off my skill without, you know, people flipping the dial saying, I don't want my child listening to that?
Okay. Kwame Dankwa, folks. He's going to be on the inside of the New England Music Seminar on the panel, educating people. Glad to have you, man.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
You've officially made it because you're on a panel at NEMS.
Oh, of course, and I'm glad to be here, man. NEMS is it's great for musicians that are coming up, and once they walk in that room and they walk out, by the end of the day, I'm pretty sure they'll have figured out whether they really want to do this or not. Absolutely,
Kwame Dankwa. Look for this dude right here to maybe be running your favorite radio station one day.
Kevin W. Reese.